Hey, everybody, are now pretty much through with earnings season, so I want to recap some of the big highlights for me. And one of mine was Ryman Hospitality Properties, a real estate investment trust I own. Before we get into the numbers, please take a minute to click subscribe to my channel. And please check out the link you see on your screen for a message from our sponsor, The Motley Fool, where you can get the top 10 stocks to buy right now. So, I normally break down my earnings videos into good and bad, but there was not a lot of bad to find here. So, if you're not familiar, Ryman is a real estate investment trust or REIT that has two main sides to its business. It has its hotels, which it has five large scale hotels, all under the Gaylord brand name. Now, five hotels may not sound like a lot because there are REITs that have hundreds of hotels, but these are big, big properties. They're very focused on group business, convention space, things like that. In fact, Ryman has the four largest hotels outside of the gaming industry by convention space. So the Gaylord hotels reached all-time high revenue in the first quarter. Their average daily room rate was an all-time high, about nearly 20% over pre-pandemic levels. Catering sales were impressive, and occupancy rose by 25 percentage points year over year to 72.3%. So a pretty great rebound from the COVID pandemic. Now, it's worth mentioning that this isn't a great comp. If you remember the first quarter of 2022, that was when the Omicron wave was surging. So a lot of travel wasn't happening at that point. It was still very restricted. So not a great comparison. So when I tell you that their FFO, or the real estate version of earnings, more than tripled year over year, take that with a big grain of salt. It's not that their earnings actually grew by over 200%. It's that it was compared to a very kind of pandemic hurt quarter. And then in addition to the hotels, Ryman has their entertainment business, which they call Opry Entertainment. In the past year, they sold a stake of this to NBC Universal, which creates a lot of partnership potential. But even with the existing business, it's roughly one fifth of Ryman's total business right now. But it also had an all-time high for revenue, 77% year-over-year revenue growth. They own some of the more iconic country music venues, including the Grand Ole Opry, Ryman Auditorium. That's where the company gets its name. They recently bought Austin City Limits in Austin, Texas. They have the Ole Red entertainment venue and dining chain, which they partner with Blake Shelton to do. The flagship location for that is under construction on the Las Vegas Strip as we speak. And they announced, along with their earnings, a partnership with Luke Combs, another country music star, to build a large entertainment district in downtown Nashville. They're investing heavily in this side of the business, and hopefully it will pay some nice dividends. But speaking of dividends, Ryman increased its dividend by another 33% following a big increase in the last quarter. The stock now yields about 4.2%. That's a big dividend increase. They raised their guidance for full year operating income and funds from operations, the equivalent of earnings. All in all, this was a great quarter for Ryman. The stock has increased more than sevenfold from the pandemic era lows. In March 2020, this stock just completely collapsed to about $12 a share at the low point. And it's not hard to see why. Conventions were on pause indefinitely. No one knew if they would ever be able to resume at that point. So the stock is up, 700% almost in the past, in a little over 3 years since then. But don't be fooled. This is still a business that trades at a great valuation. It's still trading at a very low multiple of its FFO, especially now that it raised its guidance. And there's a lot of room to grow in this space. If anything, the remote work trend creates even more of an opportunity to create convention and conference space, because those in-person events will be so much important when people don't see each other in the office every day. This is a stock that I've owned for some time. I plan to keep holding it, and I couldn't be happier with how they performed this quarter. Once again, thank you so much for joining me. Be sure to click subscribe if you don't subscribe to my channel already. And as always, this video is sponsored by the Motley Fool. Be sure to visit www.fool.com/Frankel to receive the top 10 best stocks to buy now.